Tonight, Pray It Off, we're going to talk about encouragement. As I mentioned before the camera started, Jesus Christ was the greatest example of giving people encouragement, for spurring people on, for motivating for a better life. The first thing we're going to talk about is the encouragement for weight loss, because that is why we're here. We're here to eat less, move more, ask God to help us. But the problem is people give up. They say, you know what? It's not a good time. Or maybe when the kids are out of the house, or maybe when, I get a better job, or maybe when I'm feeling better, they give up. They say, I'm not losing weight. I'm going to give up. And here's what I say to them. God willing, if you give up, you're still going to be alive. Next week, either you're going to weigh the same, you're going to lose weight, you're going to gain weight. I always say just be patient with yourself. It does get better. You start an exercise program. When I first got my exercise bike, I was on level 1. There's all these different levels. And level 1, I was working it, And as time went on, I went up to level 2, and that didn't feel so bad. But I didn't start at level 10. The first time I started my exercise bike, I started at level 1 and worked my way up. Same with walking. I've told the story a million times. Bob and I started to walk when I was 3:38. I got up a little part of the hill and I said, I gotta go home. Now I can whip around that neighborhood like nobody's business. And this is a good story about a lady who was 296 pounds. It could have been me. And she started walking and the neighbors would see her walk. And after a few months, it went from being painful for her to actually enjoyable. She enjoyed walking and going out. And one day, about 10 months into the program, she was losing weight, she was walking, and she looked and the neighbors had put up signs that said, "Go, Margie. Congratulations, Margie." And 100 people were cheering her on as she walked her route. And I've seen people out and they go, "Oh, I know you. I see you walking in the neighborhood." People watch, and they're encouraging you to do that in their own way. Also, not all benefits are at the scale. I've had people say to me, I'm surprised I didn't lose anything this week because my pants seem so loose on me. Or when I look in the mirror, I don't seem so bloated. Healthy lifestyles can be shown up in blood tests, in x-rays, in the medications that might be reduced. You don't necessarily see it week upon week at the scale, but does that mean, well, I exercised this week and I didn't lose weight, so I'm not going to exercise anymore? Forget it. I'm done with that. You have to just be patient and say that the benefits will come. Also, there was someone who, for 20 years, weighed the same, around 136 pounds. But the funny thing is, they might have weighed the same, but some of the body that was muscle is now turned into fat, but they still weighed the same. So you try to build up that fat into muscle, and you might, use some weights or do some other kind of exercise. You might even in the beginning gain a couple pounds as you're converting that fat into muscle. But then overall, you're healthier and you'll burn more calories by having a greater muscle mass. So if you're going from not exercising to exercising like crazy and you expect to lose weight, sometimes you will build muscle mass. But if you go for one mile walk and you gain weight, don't try to tell me it's muscle mass, because I don't think I'm going to believe that. Also, you have to push. This is one of my problems. I admit it. I feel if I do something, all right, I ride 5 miles on my bike, aren't I? Great. But I've been doing it for so long that my body's saying, Ellen, why don't you try riding 10 miles on the bike? And then I stand over here and go, I really don't want to. Isn't it good enough that I ride 5 miles? Why do I got to ride 10? And then my body says, well, I'm used to 5. And if you don't kick it up, you're not going to lose any weight. So you have to have a little pain. No pain, no gain. You have to be out of breath a little bit. There has to be maybe a bead of sweat somewhere on your body to show that you're exerting yourself. If you're leisurely walking, your body's made to walk. It's not necessarily exercise. If you're walking a couple miles, maybe you need to walk a little bit more. Need to have a little bit of. And this guy here lost 85 pounds, and for an entire day he carried around a sack with 85 pounds. Now, I've lost over 130 pounds since I've been here at Pray It Off. And I can barely lift that 50 pounds. I can't imagine strapping 130 pounds and trying to walk around, and yet I did it year after year. So think about that. Every time you lose a chunk of weight, 10 pounds, pick up something that weighs 10 pounds and see how that is. Also, they talk about writing down your feelings and all that. Boy, to try to get this group to write anything down, I can barely get you to make up your logs, you know. So if you're a journaler, do that. Otherwise, think thoughts, you know. Also, God designed our bodies to be active. You know, in 2 years at work, I haven't had one sick day. As a matter of fact, since I started the Pray It Off program 4 years and 2 months ago, or some wood, Jesus, I haven't been sick. I feel better, I look better. I mean, there's young kids, oh, I'm sick, I'm calling in sick, and here I am, you know, granny in there going, I haven't missed a day, I get all these perfect attendance awards. I can tell you it's because I'm eating healthy and exercising. Also, they talked a little bit here about people who started exercising and losing weight. It helps your marriage too. You know, this one woman, her husband lost 72 pounds, and she says, I have a new husband. He walks for an hour every morning. He's a joy to be around. His enthusiasm for life makes our marriage fun. I feel better about myself. I feel better about myself now that I've lost weight. Am I a different person? No, but it's easier for me to get around. It's easier for me to do things. Therefore, you're more encouraged. You're in a better mood. Also, this article says, and I can't stress it enough, just get going. Just do something. Begin now. Reach your hand out. Say, Jesus, it's Lent. You know, I haven't done such a great Lent so far, but Lent can start anytime you want it to. And begin and encourage yourself. I'm going to stop there, Bobby.